So good evening and welcome to Arva Yoga's second session on yoga philosophy. In the last session, Swamiji talked about evolution of consciousness, and today we are going to have a session on microcosm and macrocosm. A quick introduction to all those who are new and joining for the first time. Arva Yoga is a non-profit organization, 501c3, registered in the state of Pennsylvania, and we host free retreats or free workshops in the yoga and wellness space for the community. And today, Swami Atma Vidyananda Giri has joined us from Kriya Yoga Institute. He is the vice president of Kriya Yoga Institute and also a very senior monk and a profound speaker. So without further delay, let's get started. Welcome, Swamiji.
Thank you, Ma. Let us close the eyes for a moment. Remembering God and the Masters, we'll begin with a prayer. Om Sahana Atu Sahano Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. May the Divine protect us all. May God nourish us with wisdom and knowledge. May we meditate and pray together. May there be no conflict among us. May there be more peace and love within and everywhere. I humbly bow to one formless supreme reality, about all the saints and sages of all times and places. I bow to lineage of Kriya Yoga Masters, and today is the special occasion of Paramahansa Yoganandaji's Mahasamadhi Day. I bow to him in each one of you. Good evening and welcome from Sao Paulo, Brazil. In our previous talk, we discussed about the evolution of consciousness. We discussed that how God desired to become many and he created. So with attributes, he is the Purusha. Along with Prakriti, God created this entire creation. First the elemental creation, and then further he continued. This creation, or the Prakriti, which is the inherent power of God, is called 25 elements, Prakriti. So there are 25 elements of this Prakriti, and what are those elements? So if we count it along with Purusha, the Prakriti itself has 24 elements. There are 5 gross elements, then 5 sense organs of perception, 5 sense organs of action, and 5 tanmatras, the sense perceptions, including 4 inner instruments like mind, memory, intellect, and ego. So these 24 elements plus Purusha is the 25 elements of Prakriti or God. We can say this creation. Now, this creation, if you read the Bhagavad Gita, in the 7th chapter, 7th verse, there is description about this Prakriti when Lord is telling that mattah parataram nasti kinchidasti dhananjaya mai sarvamidam protam sutre manigana eva. He says that Arjuna, O conqueror of wealth, there is no superior truth to me. Everything rests upon me as pearls are strung on a thread. So, in the entire creation, each and every living being or whatever exists, it is all strung on a thread, just like in a rosary. There are beads, and these beads are connected with the rosary. So that is the sutra. Like that, in all the living beings, God is like the sutra or the thread, which is keeping everything together. If we talk about this Prakriti, on the microcosmic level, the universe we see outside when it is manifested, and macrocosmic level is the individual level. So if we see, the macrocosm is Purusha and Prakriti together, and the Purusha is the soul when it is manifested at microcosmic level. So there's a pair, like Purusha is compared with the soul, both are formless, and Prakriti and the body, they are having a form. So Purusha and soul both are infinite, but Prakriti and body both are finite. Purusha or soul, they are immortal, they are beyond birth and death, beyond modification, and we can say they are transcendental. And that is why they are beyond 5 gross elements. But when we talk about the Prakriti, or when it is manifested here as the body, then it is finite, it is born, and it must die. And the body constantly undergoes 6 modifications. And this body or the external Prakriti or the nature, we experience through our 5 sense organs, because they are all composed of 5 sense elements. When we talk about the microcosm and macrocosm, question is that whatever we see today, it is all visible, it is all manifested. But before that, where this Prakriti was? So the question is, this Prakriti was already with God. In Bhagavad Gita, again it is said, it is in the 2nd chapter and 28th verse, where it is said that Avyaktadini bhutani vyakta madhyani bharata avyakta nidhananyeva tatra ka paridevana. All created beings are unmanifest before the birth. Means before this Prakriti is manifested, everything was in unmanifest dimension, because Prakriti is with Purusha. As in the last class we understood from the example, just like the Lord Shiva is dancing. So when he is dancing, at that time dance is projected. But when he is not dancing, sitting silently, where is that dance? So that dance is the Prakriti, or dance you can say is the manifested form, or in other words you can say it is the energy of God or Shakti. So where is that energy? Where is the Shakti? When Lord is not dancing, it is with him. But at will, he can project this dance. So also the entire universe, it is unmanifest in the beginning, and in the middle, it is manifested, and everything is becoming lively. And at the end, again, when there is Visarga or Upasarga, means when there is dissolution of this Prakriti, then everything goes back to the same state where it is unmanifest. So we all have come from unmanifest dimension. We are manifested, we play, we live, and again we all go back to our source with dissolution process. So there is no question of becoming upset or sad. This is what the teaching of Lord Krishna in Bhagavad Gita to Arjuna. We can say that this entire process of Prakriti, it is a cyclic process. How it is cyclic? Let's consider it. If we talk about the tree, so you can see the tree is having a seed. This seed is planted and it becomes a sapling, then it becomes a tree which bears fruit, flowers, and then fruits. And again, the fruits are having the seeds. The same seed is again continuing the process. So this is a cyclic process. In the butterfly, let us take the example. There's cocoon, there's egg, then cocoon, and again it is becoming transformed into butterfly. Similarly, in human life also, we see that we take a body. As a baby, we are born, then we are growing up, becoming adult, and then we mature, and finally we go to the old age and go back to our source after death. So it is again a cyclic process. We are born, we die, we are again born. So this Prakriti is always working in this cyclic process. Now, it is said that this entire universe, it is manifested within us. So there is a verse in Jnana Sankalini Tantra, it is the verse number 29, which says, Brahmanda Lakshanam Sarva Deha Madhye Vyavasthitam Sakarascha Vinashyati Nirakaram Na Nashyati. This verse will elaborate in our next class also. But for now, I would like to talk about this word, first word, Brahmanda. What is this Brahmanda? So Brahma, you can say God the Absolute. And when we say Brahma, ending with long A, then it is creator. And Anda means the egg. So you can say this is the egg of the God, egg of Supreme Being. So this entire universe is nothing but like an egg. So it is called Brahmanda. So all the qualities, Lakshana, all the qualities of this universe are seen in the human body. And in course of time, this gross body, which is known as hum, it is destroyed because it is imperishable. But the formless soul, which is called Sa, is imperishable. So soul is transmigrated to next plane of existence, and then it comes back and reborn. So each human being is like a miniature universe. They are like a prototype. So if we think about this word Brahmanda, what exactly is Brahmanda? So here comes the macrocosm. So let's understand first this macrocosm. Brahmanda, we can say that first is the supreme reality. We can say this is total existential reality. So what is that total existential reality? It is, we call it Brahman, God the Absolute. And there are four cosmic planes. One is the subtlest, or you can say the after Brahman is the Turiya state, which is known as transcendental or metaphenomenal. Then causal or potential, Swaha. Then subtle, which is called psychical or Bhuva. And gross, it is the physical or Bhu. So these four cosmic planes are there. Let's understand these four. What does it mean? So total existential reality is called Sat Chit Ananda. That is what we call Brahman or God. Now the divine reality is of the nature of Satchidananda, which means absolute, infinite existence, consciousness, and bliss. And it manifests as the totality of the existence on the four cosmic planes, macrocosmic universe, as well as the microcosmic or individual level. So in other words, we can understand it like the gross or physical plane, then subtle or psychical plane, then potential or causal plane, and the fourth one is the transcendental or metaphenomenal, which is the source of the first three. Now, the first three planes, like gross, subtle, and causal, so they are represented by the cosmic level. On the cosmic level, they are respectively, they are represented like Bhuloka, Bhuvahaloka, and Swahaloka. So first one is Bhuloka. Bhuloka is, you can say, this is the gross plane. Our external physical or empirical universe of sense experience with its different types of life, such as microbes, plants, fish, birds, animals, human beings, etc. So it is all experienced by us while living in this gross body, and this is designated by the Bhuloka. Other name of Bhuloka is the Earth planet. The second one, the intermediate subtle regions with the mains and other subtle invisible beings inhabiting them. So mains means it's not MN, it is MANE. That means the departed souls in their subtle, with their subtle body or soul, when they leave. So that is the plane. So subtle regions where all the subtle invisible beings are residing, and they are apprehended by us psychically. Physically, you cannot see them. Psychically, while living or through the subtle body after death. And this is designated as the Bhuvahaloka. The third one, which is higher than these two, this is called Swahaloka. That means the several heavens with the different types of angels and gods residing in them. It also includes the highest heaven, which is called the abode of truth, Satyaloka, and where Supreme God, Brahman, the Absolute, dwells. And this Swahaloka, or the highest plane, which is the abode of Brahman, is the controlling, or it is the cause of the other three planes, like Bhu, Bhuva, and Swaha. And this plane of abode of God, or you can say Swahaloka, it can be envisioned by us spiritually in different levels of samadhi or trance while we are living, or through the spiritual body after death. And this is designated as the Swahaloka. Now, these three planes together constitute the entire phenomenal cosmic universe, which is called Brahmanda. So, Bhu, Bhuva, Swaha, these three together, they constitute the Brahmanda. The supreme being, or the cosmic soul of the entire Brahmanda and its all beings, is designated as Parameshwara, rules this Brahmanda. So Param Ishvara means supreme being, supreme God. And this Brahmanda is also divided into 14 cosmic worlds. We call them Chaturdasha Bhuvana or Chaturdasha Loka, 14 planes of existence. Beyond this phenomenal Brahmanda, which is non-personal, transcendental, absolute spiritual reality, designated as Brahman, which is supracorporeal, metaphysical, and beyond all the lokas and heavens. So this is the fourth plane, the highest, which is called Turiya, the absolute. And it is beyond time, space, and causation. It is pure, infinite spiritual experience with consciousness and bliss as its own nature. All the other three planes are relative, like Bhu, Bhuva, Swaha. They are relative planes, but Turiya, or this highest abode of God, is not the relative, it is absolute. And these three, they are within time, space, and causation, and they rest upon the fourth, their source, just like the movie show on the screen without affecting it. So it is the absolute Brahman that appears as the supreme God when associated with Brahmanda or the entire universe of the three planes. So we call it supreme God or Parameshwar when it is associated with this universe. When it is not, then it is absolute in unmanifest dimension, and we call it infinite. The macrocosm, which is represented by all these four cosmic planes, and the microcosm or the individual unit, which is a part of it, both are built on the same plan, just like fully manifested tree with its trunk and branches, leaves, flowers, and fruits, which also bear seeds, each of which contains within itself the potentiality of manifesting a similar whole tree, which includes similar seeds. And in the seed, whole tree is latent, although invisible. Similarly, each individual being, though apparently insignificant part of Brahmanda, contains the potentiality of the entire four planes of existence of Sat, Chit, Ananda, and Ananta. Means infinite, existence, knowledge or consciousness, and bliss. An individual being can manifest this in due course through spiritual practice and find the union in each cosmic plane through identification with it. And if we go further about this description, and we can see this 14 planes. So as I said, 14 planes, we can discuss more about that later, but here just I'll tell you the names. There are 7 planes which are above and 7 are below the earth region. Below the earth, we call them Patal, and above, the 7 planes are known as Bhu, Bhuvaha, Swaha, Maha, Jana, Tapa, and Satya. Bhuloka, as I said, the earthly planet where all the mortal beings live. Bhuva is for the ancestor where our departed souls, they reside. And some presiding deity of that plane or Yamaloka and Pitraloka are part of Bhuva. Then Swaha is the Swarga Loka, which is the different levels of heavens. Mahaloka is for the perfected beings who are realized. And Jana, Tapa, these two are also the higher planes. And Satya Loka is the abode of God, the Absolute, which is also known as Brahma Loka. And if we talk about the 7 lower planes, their names are Atala, Vitala, Sutala, Talatala, Rasatala, Mahatala, and Patala. Now these 14 planes, they are also in the human body, which we will discuss later. But if we think about this components of microcosm. Macrocosm, we understood the 3 planes plus the highest plane, which are represented by the Bhu, Bhuva, Swaha, and then Turiya, the transcendental. Now, if we talk about the microcosm at the body level, there are 3 components of microcosm. So, the body, its constituents, which are connected with the state of awareness, and what are the qualities. So we can say this body or microcosm, it's a gross body. And what is this gross body? It is 5 sense organs of action, 5 sense organs of perception. So through the gross body, 5 sense organs of action and 5 sense organs of perception. This is our first component of microcosm. I'm not talking about the constituent of the body, but it is just the components. The first component, the gross body, which is having 5 sense organs of action and perception. And these 5 gross elements are earth, water, fire, air, and space. This gross body is connected with wakeful state, Jagrat Avastha. Because when we are wakeful, we can see, we can perceive, we can experience it. But the quality of this gross body that it has to go through 6 modifications constantly, which are known as it exists, it is born, it grows, it changes, it decays, and then finally dies. So these are 6 modifications of the human body. Then the second component of microcosm is subtle body and sensory perceptions. The subtle body, it has also 5 pranas are part of it, as well as the mind, memory, ego, and intellect. So these 4 inner instruments and pranas are part of this second component of subtle body and sensory perceptions. This component is related to dream state, and it is the instruments for the experience of pleasure and pain, because mind and memory both are involved. So whatever we experience in the form of good or bad, pleasant or unpleasant, it is through this second component. And then third component on the microcosmic level is the soul, which is consciousness. These 3 are together in this body. The soul is beginningless, and soul is connected with the causal state, or you can say transcendental state of awareness. And it is in the form of ignorance of reality, because once we spiritually progress and we identify ourselves with Supreme Being, then only we remove this ignorance. And the quality of soul is Sat Chit Ananda, same as God the Absolute has. But soul is unchanging reality. The body is constantly changing, but soul is unchanging reality. Now, further, if you think about this entire universe, including this microcosmic and macrocosmic level, so in the Vedantic text, Drak Drashya Viveka, there is verse number 20. It speaks about the quality of this entire universe as Asti Bhati Priyam Nama Rupa Chaityansha Panchakam Adritrayam Brahma Rupam Jagad Rupam Tatodvayam. So these are the 5 qualities, the group of 5 constituents. What are they? Asti. Asti means exist. Asti is related to Sat. Then Bhati. Bhati means shining. It is from root word Bha, which is related to Chit, consciousness. Then Priya. Priya means dear or attractive, and it is related to Ananda. Then 2 qualities are Nama and Rupa. So Nama is name, Rupa is form. So name and form. So among these 5, Adyatrayam, the first three, Asti, Bhati, Priya, they are related to Sat, Chit, Ananda. They are related to, or they are dealing with the Brahman or the soul. And the other 2, which is name and form, they are related to the world, outside world, or you can say the body, Prakriti. So 3 are related to Purushan, 2 are related to Nama and Rupa related to Prakriti. So this is Asti Bhati Priyam Nama Rupa Cha Iti Ansha Panchakam. This human body is compared with a chariot, because now we are talking about the microcosmic level. So here, if you consider this body, which has 3 components, but also this is a beautiful, there's a beautiful analogy in Katha Upanishad, which is the mantra in the first book, 3rd canto, mantra number 3 and 4. It speaks about Atmanam Rathinam Vidhi, Shariram Yat Rathamevatu, Buddhim tu Sarathim Vidhi, Mana Pragrahamevacha. We should understand this body is like a chariot. You'll say, why chariot? Because in the ancient time, when the wisdom was revealed, or these mantras were revealed to the saints and sages, at that time there were no cars, there were only chariots. So he compared with the chariot. So body is like a chariot, and soul is the master of the chariot. Soul is the owner. And who is the charioteer? chariot driver is the buddhi or intellect or reason. And the manah pragrahamevacha means the mind is the bridle or reins. So mind is compared with the bridle and soul is the chariot, owner of the chariot. But who is driving this chariot, body chariot? It's not the mind. Mind is only the bridle. But who is the real driver? Is the intellect. And then next mantra in Kathopanishad it says, Indriyani hayanayuhu Vishyan's teshu gocharan Atma Indriya Manoyuktam Bhokta iti ahu manishina. Then further it says the senses are like the horses. We have 10 sense organs, 5 sense organs of action, 5 sense organs of perception. So these are like 10 horses. And these horses, where they are running, Vishayans Teshu Gocharan. They are running on the road or the path. They are moving on the path. And what is the path? Sense objects. So these senses, they are continuously running towards the sense or objects of this world to enjoy them. And then Atma Indriya Manoyuktam. So, and one who is united with self, mind, and the senses is the enjoyer. This is what the wise people say. So, who is really enjoying? When we say we enjoy anything in this world, any sense object, let's say the apple, if you want to eat apple, so who is really enjoying apple? Is it the sense organ or is it the mind? But truly speaking, it is the soul with the help of mind and the sense organs is getting this enjoyment. Although soul is beyond all experiences, but soul is enjoying when it is united with mind and the sense organs. This is a beautiful analogy. Just think in our daily life or in our spiritual life, what are we doing? Normally, these 10 horses, like sense organs, they are continuously running or moving on these roads, which are the sense objects. And they are not in our control. They're not regulated. And that is the reason that we are finding it difficult. Just imagine if these 10 sense organs or the 10 horses, if they are running in their own direction, can we reach our goal of life? We want to go to certain place or destination, but each horse is running in its own direction. There's no control. And that is what is our situation. We have problems, we are struggling. And in spiritual life, we always try to practice some control on the senses and then the mind, because both are connected. In Vedanta, when we say we enjoy some object of sense, it is not that the sense organs or the mind cannot go directly. For example, I told you apple. If you want to enjoy apple, the thought comes to the mind. So the mind has the desire, I want to enjoy the apple. But mind cannot go directly to apple. So mind is employing these sense organs, which are the agents. And through these sense organs, the mind is enjoying. How? The mind is giving the signal. The feet is moving towards the tree. The hand is going and plucking the apple. Then it is put into the mouth. Tongue is tasting. And the taste or the contentment, the mind is enjoying here. Mind cannot go directly to any sense object. So he is connected with senses. And that is the reason in the path of yoga, these two are very important practices. We call them yama and dhamma. Yama and niyama. But in Vedanta, we call it shama and dhamma. So shama means control over the mind, to pacify the mind through the pranayam, through asana, posture, and the breath regulation. And dhamma means to control the sense organ with some discipline. So for that also, we practice some asana or the postures, or some mudras. So these Dhamma and Shama, they are correlated. If we can control the sense organ, then automatically we get control over the mind. I'll give an example. Suppose in the practice of yoga, there is a technique. The name of this technique is called Khechari Mudra, in which the tongue, which is always moving out, means extrovert, we roll it back and try to push it inside the uvula. So this technique, which is called Khechari Mudra, is the practice of controlling the sense organ called tongue. Now, tongue has dual effect, like two functions, to speak and to taste the food. So if we can get control over the tongue, we can get control over the mind also. How? For example, if a person becomes angry at you, at that time, if you keep the tongue rolled back, Khechari Mudra, so you cannot speak. And when you cannot speak, although your mind may react internally, your mind may be reacting or trying to retaliate, but you cannot speak. So you'll not speak, you'll not exchange the words, and you stop. So you control this sense organ and eventually you control the mind. So at that time, when you're not reacting, your anger will subside in few seconds. And also, the moment you speak, other person will also speak. So there will be chain reaction and it will lead to worse situation. So how Dhamma and Shama both are correlated and both are practiced together. If we can control the senses, we can control the mind. However, in yoga practice, both are essential to do. This mind, memory, intellect, and ego, which is also the part of our subtle body, these four are the inner instrument. We call them Antahkaran Chatushtya. So Antahkaran Chatushtya, I'll just give a simple example. Mind, intellect, memory, and ego. So just to understand what are the constituents or what is the definition, because mind and intellect, memory, sometimes we get confused which is really functioning or what is what. So let me tell you, mind, as per the Vedanta, the definition of mind is Sanshayatmakam Manaha. Mind is a doubting faculty. Mind is doubting faculty. So that which is creating doubt. For example, if you came to attend this talk, so you had a choice. You could have attended this talk online, or you can see it recorded later on, and you could go to a party or you could attend some other important work. So when the mind is telling, should I do or should I not? So this is the function of mind, to create doubt or create confusion. It does not give clarity. The second faculty, which is called intellect or buddhi, Nishayatmika buddhi. What is intellect? The faculty which helps us to take decision. Now you have choice, you have some options. Another definition of mind is Sankalpa Vikalpatmakaha Mana. So Sankalp and Vikalp, there are two functions. Sankalp means to take a resolve. For example, I will do this. I will go to attend this program. So this is Sankalpa. And what is Vikalpa? Vikalpa, one meaning is alternative. So mind also proposes some alternatives. Suppose you want to take tea. Now you go to the kitchen and you take the tea, and the mind immediately tells, first is resolve, Sankalp, I want to take tea. This is Sankalp. Then what is Vikalp? When you reach kitchen, then there are options. The mind again gives you alternatives. Vikalp, it says that, do you want to take the herbal tea or you want to take Indian tea? Okay, now you finally decide, okay, I want to take Indian tea. Now Indian tea leaves. So which tea? With milk or without milk? So with milk. Then what type of milk? It should be A2 or A1, cow milk or soya milk or almond milk. Now we decide one of that. Then comes, should I take with the sugar or without sugar? Now sugar. So which type of sugar? It be this sugar or that. So you see that how many alternatives, vikalp, are also presented by the mind. But who is taking decision? So nishchayatmika buddhi. The intellect is the faculty which helps us to decide, to make a decision firmly. Then third faculty, which is called memory. So memory is the recollection. Whatever we perceive in this world through our sense organs, whether whatever we read, we see, we taste, we touch, we smell, everything is recorded in our subconscious mind. And all those impressions which are in subconscious mind, they go into the memory. So that forms the memory bank. And we carry this same mind, same memory, life after life. Then also to recollect, if you forget something, it comes from the memory bank. So that is also function. Then fourth one is ahamkara or ego. What is ego? Many times we think ego means negative. It's not negative thing. Ego is the faculty. It is a subtle instrument for our benefit to use and transform it. So ego is aham karta iti ahamkara. The faculty which gives this notion that I am the doer. When we say we are talking, so who is this? I am talking. Who is this? I. So I means referring to this body which has name and form. So this is the ego. Ego is not bad, but ego has to be transformed into a best, you can say pure ego, Shuddha. However, so these are the four: mind, memory, intellect, and ego. They are the part of subconscious level which are associated with our subtle body. And this microcosm, now this microcosmic level, it is not just the body and mind, but also the senses, and whatever we perceive, whatever experiences we have, all these three are involved on our day-to-day basis. When we talk about this body, so body has the 6 modifications. Body, it goes through constant change. The first thing is said, as we discussed in the previous slides, asti, body is existing. Then body is born, jayate, vardhate, viparinamate, apakshiyate. So 6 qualities. The first thing is existing. The body is existing. You'll say that, how can it exist? Yes, before we are born, the body is existing in mother's womb. So it is existing. The second is born. The body is born. Third is body is growing. Then it becomes mature, because after a certain period of time, body does not grow more. If you see in that childhood, and then as we go towards the adulthood, the body is constantly growing in height, in weight, etc. But after a certain period of time, like after the age of 20 or 25, then it does not grow. If your height is 5 feet 5 inches, then it remains as it is. You cannot make it more. Then this body is decaying. There's degeneration, because as we grow older, then body also degenerates. And finally, this body dies. So this is a complete cycle. Because the Prakriti is the body compared with the body, is constantly changing with respect to the soul. Soul is unchangeable. So when it is constantly changing, nothing is permanent. And this is what the experience we have to get through our spiritual practice or yoga. In path of yoga, what we understand, we have to discriminate what is real and what is unreal, what is permanent, what is impermanent. And then this theory, which is part of Vedanta, we apply into daily life. That is path of yoga. So yoga and Vedanta, they go together. Vedanta is theoretical aspect and yoga is the practical aspect of the teachings. So constant change, and this body is known as Kaya. Kaya, it is very interesting. There are many different names of this body, and each name is derived from Sanskrit root word. So, for example, some of them I can tell you, like Kaya. Kaya, ka ayati iti kaya. Ka means happiness. So, that which brings happiness. Through this body, we get happiness. We feel happiness. That's why it is known as Kaya. Then it is known as Sharira. Shiryam, Shiryamana means that which is degenerating constantly is body. This body is also known as a ghata. Ghata is the pot. This body is like a pot. The body is also known as pinda. Pindas are like lump. And also this body is known as kshetra. If you read Bhagavad Gita, the 13th chapter of Bhagavad Gita is the chapter of Kshetra Kshetragya Vibhaga Yoga, the field and the knower of the field. So this body is compared with the field. If you remember the 13th chapter, first verse in Bhagavad Gita, idam shariram kaunteya kshetram iti abhidhiyate. O Arjuna, this body is known as the field, kshetra. And what type of field is it is? It is not a barren land, because field also is land. So field, this is the field which has to be cultivated. Now what happens that when we are not conscious, then this is barren land. The moment we become aware of our divinity and we start some yoga practice, then we start cultivating this body land. And my master, Paramahansa Pragyananandji Maharaj, Paramahansa Hariharanandji Maharaj, always used to say that this body is the cultivable land. And we need to cultivate this body with the help of yoga practice, Kriya Yoga. And when we cultivate, then what happens? There is harvest. This is the harvest of Ananda or supreme bliss we get. This body, we'll discuss a little bit more. In this body, there is what we see outside. As I told you, Brahmanda Lakshanam Sarva Deha Madhya Vyavasthita. Sakara cha vinashyati, nirakara na nashyati. That which is formless is not destructible, but that which has a form, which is a name, it is destroyed. It is perishable. It is there. That's why we see the body is existing today. Tomorrow it may not be there, but soul always exists. So also the Prakriti outside you see, which is made up of 5 gross elements, Prakriti is changing. Everything which is in the Prakriti is constantly changing. That's why it is known as samsara, samsarati. Samsarati, it is samsara. That is constantly changing. And when it is changing, it does not remain same. Whether it is a body, whether it is the mind, whether it is emotions, they are also changing. Yesterday we had some positive emotion and today we may not have. We had a positive state of mind, we were very optimistic. Today we may feel depressed or tense or stressful. So it is also constantly changing. When thoughts are changing, the body condition is changing. It may be healthy, it may not be healthy tomorrow. Similarly, the relations are also changing. Today we have very good relation with someone and then tomorrow we don't want to see the face of that person. So everything with respect to time, causation, and place is changing. But remember the soul, which is the Purusha, which is God. So soul and God, they are unchangeable. They are not changing because they are not limited or bound by the time, space, or causation. They are beyond this. So just like as we understood that on the movie, if you go to movie theater, on the screen, you constantly see the one after the other pictures are there. The pictures are constantly changing, but the screen remains same. So also this soul is like a screen. and the body is changing. God is like a screen, and this whole world, universe, it is changing constantly, like the new movie or new scenes. We need to pay attention to what is permanent, what is unchanging. And that soul, we have to identify with the soul, and that soul is part and parcel of God, the Absolute. So when we identify, this is the path of yoga. When we are not identifying ourselves with the soul, when we identify ourselves with the body, with sense organs, with mind, intellect, ego, then we are in the world. We are still in the play of Prakriti. And you know that Prakriti is intrinsic of three nature. In the last class we discussed that Prakriti is made up of three qualities: Sattva, Rajas, and Tamas. Sattva means the quality of balance, peace, harmony. Rajas means quality of agitation, activity, dynamism. And Tamas is the quality of sloth, inertia. Since Prakriti is constantly changing, and just to take you back, that this Prakriti is playing, this whole entire universe is the play of Prakriti, play of God, but Prakriti is playing with its 8 constituents. Bhumi, Apa, Anala, Vayu, Kham, Mano, Buddhi, Evacha. In Bhagavad Gita, that this Prakriti is made up of 8 constituents: earth, water, fire, air, space. Then Kham, Mano, Buddhi, Evacha. Mind and memory and intellect. Ego is not there. So these 8 together is the Prakriti, and this is continuous play. And in this play, we forget our real identity. This Prakriti is constantly changing. Why? Because these 3 intrinsic qualities, they are not in balance. Remember, when the Prakriti was unmanifest, means when it was with God, when there was no creation, at that time, these 3 qualities were completely in balance, like an equilateral triangle of, in our mathematics, we do equilateral triangle. So if there's a perfect balance between these 3 gunas or qualities, so Prakriti remains unmanifest. The moment there is imbalance, Prakriti becomes manifest. And from there, all the pairs of opposites started emerging, and we discussed the elemental creation. Mind is also part of Prakriti. We discussed in the last class that from the sattvic portion of Prakriti, the mind is born. So by default, I can say that very often we complain that mind is restless, how to control the mind. But you know, the mind is restless, but mind can be controlled. Mind can be dissolved, because originally it is born from the sattvic portion of the Prakriti. So if we can subdue the other 2 qualities with our spiritual practice, then we can take it to sattvic state, which is what we do in our meditation. And then we can dissolve it. It is possible because the original nature, it is sattvic. Mind is sattvic. However, when this balance is disturbed, then Prakriti becomes manifested. Similarly, the mind also has these 3 qualities: Sattva, Rajas, and Tamas, and we are constantly under the influence of these 3 qualities of mind. Sometimes mind is peaceful. That means sattvic qualities increased. It is dominant. Sometimes we are very active, dynamic. That means the Rajasic quality is more dominant. And sometimes we feel sleepy, so Tamasic quality is dominant. Remember, among these 3, one is dominant and other 2 are subordinate. So long as they are not in balance, the mind continues to play. It remains in one of these 3 states. Only in the 4th state, Turiya state, transcendental state, which we attain in the deep meditation, we can become free from the play of mind, because these 3 qualities, they dissolve into Prakriti. And in the next class, I'll take you inside the body, with microcosm and macrocosm. But when it is dissolved, we can completely become one with God, and that is purpose of our meditation. So next class, I will also tell you that how the entire universe is represented inside this human body. In the another yogic text, which is called Gheranda Samhita, there is a text which is called, there is a verse in the first chapter, 8th verse. It speaks about this body. It says, Amakumbha ivam bhasto jiryamana sada ghataha yoga nalena sandahya ghata shuddhim samacharet. This body is like unbaked clay pot. It is called ghata, clay pot. And you know, if you take a clay pot and you want to keep water inside, and if it is not baked, it will melt away. But the same pot, when we are baking in the fire, it becomes strong and we can keep water into that. Similarly, this body is like an unbaked clay pot, and it has to be baked with the fire of knowledge or fire of yoga. Yoga anal, fire of yoga. Then it becomes pure and strong to retain knowledge. And that knowledge helps us to make free. So Amakumbha Ivam Bhasto. And this is the word, this is the mantra we chant whenever we do puja, ritualistic worship. So when we install a kalasha in ritualistic worship, you will see a metallic pot is installed on the dais with the deity. And in that, we invoke all the cosmic powers. So we chant this mantra because that pot represents the universe, and the universe is all inside this body. So let this pot, our body, be baked into fire of yoga. So finally, we understand first the macrocosm, the 4 cosmic planes, Bhu, Bhuva, Swaha, and the transcendental, which is the source of all these 3. And then when we come to microcosmic level, the Prakriti which is manifested around us in different names and forms, the same Prakriti which is compared with this body. And this body has to be made strong by practice of yoga. So in the path of yoga, we practice some asana, some pranayama, some mudras. So all these help us to be free from this notion that I am the body, because we have to identify with the soul, our real source, and meditation slowly takes us to that state. So yoga nalena sandhya ghata shuddhim samacharet. Let us purify this body with all the yoga practice. This microcosm and macrocosm, it just helps us to see the similarity, because they're on the same plan. Whatever is there, the same, you can put it here on the microcosmic level. The moment we understand our microcosmic level, and then slowly we start going within, then we can connect this microcosm with macrocosm. And once they are together in union, that is the state where it is dissolved in perfect union. In meditation, we experience that. In Paravastha, we go to that state, that this body is completely, we become free from the body consciousness as if it does not exist. Yes, momentarily, but with our continuous practice, deeper state we achieve, and then finally we become one with God. However, this is just for our understanding. And in the next class, I will take you deeper into the metaphor of this microcosmic level. Remember, the entire universe is represented inside this body, every single thing. So we'll go into more detail that how the stars and planets, the oceans, mountains, and the poles, they are inside the body. Not only the body, but 3 levels again: the body, the brain, and even the cell. Even in the cell, it is there. So we'll go into more detail for the next time, and we'll discuss on the topic, the universe within, which is connecting the microcosm and macrocosm. I'm happy to talk to you today to spend some time on the occasion of Mahasamadhi of Paramahansa Yogananda Ji. Let us meditate deeply. Let us practice yoga and transform our life and attain the goal of our life, self-realization. Praying for all of you. Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinah, Sarve Santu Niramayah, Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu, Ma Kaschit Dukkha Bhag Bhavet. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. May all become happy and healthy, loving, noble and generous. May there be no suffering or sorrow. May there be more love, peace and harmony among us and in this entire creation. I bow to living presence of God in each one of you. Om. Amen. Thank you all, and thank you, Shraddhama, for organizing the talk.
Thank you, Baba.
Yes.
It was a thank you so much. It was very profound session, and I hope everyone is taking advantage of this. And we are very grateful to Swamiji for making time for us. So if anybody has any questions, you can post them in the chat or raise your hand. Okay, I see Nalini Baba. Nalini Baba, you can unmute to ask your question. You are muted. Or you can type in the chat if
Yeah, I am unmuted. Pranam Swamiji. Swamiji, today's talk, when you covered the 14 planes of existence and the Mahaloka, where the realized sages, that is the abode for them, is it my right understanding that our in our Guru Parampara, all the realized gurus, they kind of stay in that abode, in that plane of existence, and then they help the seekers from that plane of existence. And second part is all the realized gurus of different Guru Parampara, when they all stay in that plane of existence, do they interact with between each other in that plane of existence?
Yeah, thank you for this question. Baba, just put it in a simple way. When we leave this physical body, so the soul leaves the body. So this earth planet is the Bhuloka, the plane of mortals. The soul goes to Bhuva Loka, which is the plane of ancestors, where departed souls are there. And that includes Pitraloka and Yamaloka, that some experience are there. And then above that is Swargaloka, Swahaloka, which is the gods, angels, they live there. So the soul goes there. Also, if the soul is realized, if the person is realized, means attain the highest summit, like in our path we call Nirvikalpa Samadhi, then it is going to Mahaloka. Mahaloka, all the perfected beings are there. Then from there it also ascends to Mahaloka, Janaloka. Then from Janaloka to Tapaloka, the soul center. Then Satyaloka, the abode of God. So if the person is realized, it from Swaloka, it goes to Mahaloka. If person is not realized, then from Mahaloka, he goes to Mahaloka, having some experiences, like depending on virtues, and then the soul is reborn and coming back to the earth planet, Bhuloka. And all the realized master, whether they belong to any organization, any path, once they are realized souls, they all are in the Mahaloka, Janaloka, or Tapaloka. The Satyaloka is complete dissolution. Just to tell you, not to discourage, but what we say, that we attain realization, for example. So Nirvikalpa Samadhi, we say we are realized. So we are not reborn on the earth planet, but still the causal and subtle body are with the soul. They are associated in Mahaloka and above. So in Mahaloka, Janaloka, Tapaloka, these subtle and causal bodies are also destroyed, just like this physical body is remaining here. and they dissolve those bodies, and the soul is completely merged into divinity. So meditation continues in other planes of existence. All the masters, realized masters from these planes, they guide their disciples in many ways. This is true.
Thank you so much.
Very
If you
profound.
want to know more about this, there is a complete series on YouTube. I had given 6 talks on mystery of death. In that, I have covered these in much detail. It is all from Chandogya Upanishad.
Thank you so much, Swamiji.
There is one question, how to access the recorded session of previous and today's class. So it will be on YouTube, and from Kriya Yoga Institute, if you are signed up, you can get the notification and you can just see the recording.
The recording will be available both on Kriya Yoga Institute
Yeah.
as well as Arva Yoga's YouTube channel. And we will also send it to those who have registered later.
Okay, so I think thank
So I
you
think
for.
there are no more questions. So we can conclude the session today. Thank you so much,
Sure.
Swamiji. Thank
Thank you all for your time and patience. See you again next month with more interesting topic, which is more metaphor and related to our yoga practice, the universe within.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you all.